Brian Miller, good morning. Today's a big day. So, where is the state of the state this year? Is it in Albany?
It's in Albany this year.
No traveling around the state this year.
No, the governor hasn't taken his act on tour this year.
His tour, yeah.
This will be my first state of the state in Albany. Last year we missed it.
Right.
It was in Syracuse. The times got balled up. So
yeah.
This will be the first one.
Well, and last year I'm pretty sure we just talked about Anthony Brindisi. He was one that was boycotting the governor. You remember? Wasn't it last year?
Didn't he do his own? Yeah.
They were all boycotting the governor's speech last year. So what do you expect? First of all, on minimum wage. Right now, this minimum wage, which is raising slower upstate than it is downstate, does involve just restaurant workers, or is it eventually going to be everybody?
Yes, it does. Right now, they're gonna look at the restaurant workers, the tip wagers, and take it from there. And it will evolve into the entire upstate.
And that seems like what the governor is going to talk about today, maybe expanding it to all workers.
Well, the governor's got a whole series of proposals. We've heard them here on the radio for the last month. They've been trickling out, through the news media, and that's what we're looking at.
The one I think we're going to hear about is where if somebody is charged with domestic violence, that they would have their guns taken away. And it has been it's a hot issue because when you defend that, or when you come out against that, which I did, I took a lot of heat. Some people were sending me some nasty letters, like I'm for domestic violence. It's not that, but are we really to the point where we're going to take it out of the judge's hands and just based on a mere charge, and it makes it automatic? If you're charged, you automatically have your guns taken away. I'm not sure I like taking it out of the judge's hands.
Well, this is a tough one. We all understand domestic violence.
Yeah. And
there's been issues where there's things have happened because of guns.
Because nothing was done.
The way it was done. I agree with you, Bill, on this. It takes it out of due process.
Mm-hmm.
I think we better take a good look at this before we put this into any kind of law, especially here in upstate with the SAFE Act and what it's done to some of our manufacturing facilities.
Well, the one thing this governor is really good at is, he'll take a big national story and he jumps right on it, doesn't he? If you remember, that's how the SAFE Act happened.
Well, that's the way it seems to work.
Yeah.
We have a crisis and we want to hop on it.
What are the other? What are you predicting he's going to talk about here today?
Well, we're going to talk about. I got his proposals here in front of me.
Okay.
It's a pretty heavy piece of paper. It can go anything from, the minimum wage, 5-point plan for ultimate gang violence. Down in Long Island area, putting a new sports facility down in Long Island to attract the Islanders back. There's a lot of things like that. They're talking about some things with Stewart Air Force Base. These are all good. Yeah. These are all good proposals.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a nuts and bolts type of guy. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about how we're going to take care of the $4.4 billion hole in the budget.
Right.
That's the things I want to talk about. How we're going to train our workers. The middle workers. The people who need a 2-year degree but not a 4-year degree to fill these manufacturing jobs that we're trying to. Attract.
And what about Brian? We're talking to Brian Miller. Brian is the Assemblyman who ran for and won Claudia Tenney's seat when she moved on to Congress. What about Nano? Are you hearing anything new? We have, of course, some big deals pending here. There's the hospital pending and Nano, which the OD had an interesting editorial where their staff got together and said this has got to be the year. 2018 has to be the year, right?
Well, we're all very hopeful that the semiconductor industry will hit here in central New York. It's going to change everything.
Yeah.
All I'm hearing is the same thing everybody else is from the news releases from Steve DeMaio and the county executive. Yeah. There's interest out there. Well, let's see where the interest is.
Yeah.
It's got to happen. And there's $500 million sitting there for development on this site. So hopefully the Nano facility will hit, but if it doesn't, maybe we should be looking, for other industry to move up there.
Is that being talked about now? Because that was something that I heard about before the break, is that you have this $500 million that is sitting there on the table. Are we now looking at, have we actually had conversations about Well, what if Nano doesn't work? How do we keep the $500 million?
I can't speak for Edge. I'm not in the county board anymore, but I'm sure those.
Are you at least hearing? Are you hearing people talk about that now?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Our focus is still on the semiconductor industry here.
All right. And the hospital still moving forward downtown. That seems to be
still moving forward downtown. I hope it gets done.
Yeah.
It'll revitalize that whole section. There's a lot of good things happening in Utica. There's a lot of good things. There's a lot of things tied in with the hospital and the Masonic Research Center. There's a new director down there, so this could be really good for you.
And there's a lot going on in Rome as well. Out at the base seems like there's a great deal of activity. Do you have something?
Can I ask you a question on that? You just brought that up about the Islanders building the arena. That would be publicly funded? Do we? Obviously, we don't know. We'll find out today.
Well,
believe me, if there's a stadium, we're figuring out a way how to buy it for him.
He's gonna catch a beating over that, and I'd be shocked if Democrats would go for that. Boy, I'll tell you, people hate that. That's become like one of the big no-nos with public money is financing these stadiums.
In hopes of bringing a team back into the state,
and really, billionaires tend to reap the benefits. It's different, because someone brought this up. What about the Odd? Well, the Odd is county owned. But a lot of these are private deals where very rich individuals just take county money or state money and build a new stadium. So,
Brian Miller, what is the governor going to propose that you really completely oppose today? Is there one or two key issues that you're going to be bothered by?
Well, the first one on the domestic violence and the gun issue.
Yeah.
That's one.
And it's a toughie because opponents or those that are for this will say, "Well, Brian Miller, you like guys who punch women. Apparently, you do."
Absolutely,
that's the argument, right? That's the argument. And it's not about that. It's about we already have if you're charged with domestic violence, your guns can be taken away in New York State. It's done by a judge. He hears the testimony, he hears both sides, and he can make a decision. You have to forfeit your weapons.
Absolutely.
But now this would become automatic, and I think it takes it out of the hands of the judge. It removes due process. I think it's a big mistake.
And I agree with you on that. I think that's going to be one of the toughest ones.
Yeah.
But again, what I'm looking for is job creation.
Right.
Training for our workers out there. That's the things I want to hear. It's going to be my first State of the State. Last year, of course, we didn't hear it. And hopefully those things will be in there. And one thing, when the governor proposes these things, there's a lot of great proposals here. But, what we need is action and follow through.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
As I say, this is cotton candy time. Andrew.
Well, I wanted to just talk one more and add to your point, Bill, about so once the guns are taken away from the person that's been accused and the due process does happen, it's not easy always for them to get those guns back either.
That's true.
So once you can go to the police or you can go to whoever's holding them and say, okay, I've been cleared. Can I have my guns back?
Well,
it's not always an easy process.
And Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. This proposal would also mean that if somebody has had an order of protection issued against them, that they would automatically have to forfeit their guns as well. And if in family court, we see oftentimes the battle going on back and forth gets so ugly in family court that somebody's been accused of something that never really happened. And the easy way to handle that is for the judge to say, all right, well, we're going to issue an order of protection. That would instantly mean your possessions, your gun possessions, would be taken away. I just have a problem with that. All the way around.
It's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one. All right, so the address is at what time today? 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
And I think you can catch it on TV.
Should be able to catch it on TV.
Spectrum or somebody will have it. We don't cover this.
We'll stream it. We'll stream it on
the website.
Yeah, from our state feed.
All right, Brian Miller, thanks for coming in. How are your feet, by the way? I didn't ask you. We talked when you ran.
Okay.
You were put on so many miles on your shoes.
Right. You get new shoes for Christmas?
It got so bad you had a hip replacement.
Feet are good. Hips great.
All right.
I'm in pretty good shape. Ready to roll again this year. We haven't announced yet, but when we do, we'll be sure to do it here on.
You feel like you're making a difference. You feel like you're enjoying what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell everybody I should have done it 25 years ago. There's a lot of great people out there. We've been able to take care of a lot of constituents. Albany's a different place in the county.
Yeah.
It takes you a year to get your feet on the ground, but now we've made a lot of good friends. We've had to learn to operate differently.
Yeah.
Being in the minority, we've had to learn how to broker deals with the senator, and the Democratic Assembly people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's working pretty good, and I.
One quick question I'll ask you. You were on the county legislature. They just approved the contract with Edge. You obviously you support that.
I support the contract with Edge, and I'm also glad that they're going to put an economic development person on that's going to be responsible.
Different than what Steve DeMayo is doing.
Absolutely. That's going to be responsible to the county executive and the board. I think that's going to be a big help for them. It's going to keep them more in tune with what's going on, and the county executive and the board can voice their opinions to them and steer them in different ways.
You wonder if the whole AMS thing would have fallen through had we had that person in place. You got to wonder that.
I don't know. There was a lot of corruption going on over there.
Certainly was.
I don't know if that would have been the answer.
My guess is the governor won't be talking about all the corruption within his administration. That won't be talked about.
I'm sure that's
today.
not going to be talked about.
Or the FBI investigation.
Just checking. He won't be talking about that either today. All right, Brian Miller, thank you. We appreciate it. As always, Assemblyman Brian Miller, and we'll see. Is he going to run again for another term? These terms go so quickly. By the time you get in, you're running all over again.
Yes, they do.
It's
we
crazy.
haven't formally announced, but we'll be running again this year.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.